Hey guys, Above here, and welcome to the TLDR version of the Marathon gameplay reveal trailer that released on Marathon the Game's official Twitch page today. I'm sure a lot of you guys watched it, but if you guys didn't have the opportunity to sit down and watch the full hour-plus video, this video is for you. So we're essentially going to bullet point all of the important takeaways from the reveal trailer today, as well as compiling with other sources such as GameSpot interviews and previous videos that they've done on their channel to kind of give you a comprehensive idea of what you can expect from Marathon when it releases later this year. And yes, we finally have a launch date. So before we dive in, I'm Above. I've been a longtime Destiny creator with over 8,000 hours in the game, and in my free time, I've actually played other extraction shooters like Escape from Tarkov and have over 400 hours in that genre as well. So Marathon seems to be what I think is like the perfect blend of interests in video games for what the future of this channel will hold. We'll still cover Destiny, but we'll also be covering Marathon content here on the channel. So without further ado, let's dive in. So first things first, we have a confirmed release date of not only the alpha, but the full game release as well. The closed alpha will be April 23rd through May 4th, 2025, with the full game releasing September 23rd, 2025. There has not been an official price set for the game just yet, but the official Marathon Twitter account did respond to a GameSpot article where they actually noted that it will be a premium title, so you'll have to pay for it, but it will not be a full price title, which probably has to do with the fact that there will also be battle passes and microtransactions with things of that nature. So let's dive into some high-level game notes. So first up, the art director claims that the game has been in development for over 6 years. This will be a PvPvE game, similar to what some Destiny players will know Gambit to sort of be, where you interact with both players and PvE enemies, except it's in the extraction shooter genre, so it's more similar to Tarkov, but obviously not hyper-realistic militarism or anything like that, with up to 18 players in a map, meaning 6 teams of 3, but you also have the ability to load in solo. I don't think it's confirmed that you can load in as a duo just yet, as that may impact matchmaking, so as far as we know, you can load in as either a solo or as a team of 3. The game will have 3 maps at launch per a GameSpot interview, with a 4th map releasing shortly after launch. We also have other things that have been confirmed in interviews and previous videos from the Marathon official YouTube channel as well, such as cross-play and cross-save, disconnect protection, which they announced again today. We also have dedicated servers, which I'm sure some longtime Bungie PvP fans will be mixed emotions about. Like, okay, we get it in the new game, which is great, but like, where is it in Destiny? And we also have a dedicated security team, which is fantastic. And last but not least, we have anti-cheat with Fog of War technology. Now, many of you may not be familiar with what Fog of War is, but essentially think of it as like a game system where it prevents cheaters from seeing items across the map or seeing, you outlined across the map with like wall hacks or anything like that, because Fog of War essentially is a system where it won't render anything in the map until you make physical line of sight with it, which means, cheaters can't beeline to a super expensive item all the way across the map in a certain location, and they won't know exactly where you're spawning. So this is a great way to try and counter cheaters, especially in a genre that has such heavy PvP elements. This is a major win, because at the end of the day, if you can't trust that the people in your lobby aren't cheating and that the game is being played fair in a PvP-centric game, you lose the player base's interest very quickly. So the fact that they're taking this seriously is a massive W in my opinion. Next up, we have runner details. There will be 6 runners available at launch of the official game in September, and there will be 4 playable runners during the alpha. The 4 runners in the alpha will be Locust, Blackbird, Glitch, and Void, which are the ones we learned the most about today, with Locust being a tank-oriented character with a deployable shield and super sprint with the ability to potentially carry extra loot for your team. So if you guys are out going on a loot heavy run, Locust will be a great defensive character to bring to help you get out with as many goodies as possible. Runners also operate on a heat system, so abilities like the shield or the super sprint that I mentioned here consume what is called like the heat meter. Think of it as an ability rechargeable bar. The more you use, the faster it declines. The less you use, the faster it regenerates. So you can't just spam abilities. You have to be really smart about when and where you use these tactics. Next up, we have Blackbird, and Blackbird deploys a reveal enemy in radius type of ability, sort of like a mini UAV in an area that will kind of give a ping behind a wall on like, oh, okay, there are enemies around me behind this box, as you guys are seeing in the gameplay in the background. Next, we have Glitch, which is a disruptor type of character, a sort of get in, get out playstyle. They didn't really talk too much about this one, but I guess it'll have like sort of disruptive type elements, maybe like an EMP or I don't know, something like a stun or who knows. But you know, don't quote me here, but a disruptor type of playstyle, get in, get out, try and affect what the enemy team is doing. And last, we have Void, who has the ability to go invisible, which can not only be super valuable for going into a room and stealing a high value item, but also potentially getting a revive in a really bad location, right? And getting to their revive safely. Next up, we have factions that were covered. So the AI enemies are going to be part of the UESC, which are operatives that will control the lootable zones. And this will sway heavily map to map because sometimes you'll get heavy amounts of reinforcements that are called in depending on kind of what's going on in the game, and other times it'll be more calm and a little like eerily quiet. So, you know, the game can vary a lot raid to raid, so the game experience is never the same 2 times in a row. We are cybernetic soldiers with unique abilities that are fighting against the UESC and each other to try and rank up our factions, which is touched on in the gameplay portion of this reveal. So we're going to have faction reputation, seasonal story, and community events. We also have, you know, priority targets like UESC commanders, and what they mentioned specifically was like a ghost commander of the UESC who has stealths and clone abilities that like just sound crazy. So there's going to be high priority targets that I'm sure drop higher tier loot as well. As for the PvP elements, there will be both ranked play and leaderboards. There will be teams of 3 with up to 18 players max from the sounds of it. You can all play the same class or diversify, and I think the popularity of this decision will depend a lot on game balance. So if they do frequent updates and tuning and make sure that the characters are actually balanced well, I think this could be a really popular choice because you're not set on just what your agent or runner does, right? You can modify different abilities, come in with different portions of the kit, and can kind of play that runner a bunch of different ways. So I think giving people freedom to do that is awesome, but I think balance is going to heavily affect how popular this decision is, because, you know, it'd be like during the days of like when Behemoth Titan was crazy in Destiny 2 PvP, just facing 3 of those every game isn't fun. So I think as long as they're on top of, you know, modifying and constantly evolving the sandbox, I think this will be a good decision. You can revive teammates and get their loot out safely. Fall damage does exist. The TTK seems quite a bit longer than what you see in Destiny, but is similar to what you kind of see in other extraction shooters. You know, like a headshot with a sniper will still kill you instantly, but a machine gun to the chest will still take a good number of bullets, especially on tankier characters, which I think is good because you want the ability with all these different angles around a map to be able to get shot in the back and have a little bit of counterplay. So I think it's good that it's not just like COD TTK where you get shot and you're instantly down. I think it's good that there's a bit of counterplay with how many angles there are around the map. There will also be dynamic events and weather, which will make every single experience different and unique. Games will have a time limit. There was a 25:02 timer that was shown. Could be longer, could be shorter. We have no idea. That's kind of the knowledge that we're going off of. And the map that you guys are seeing in the background is called Dire Marsh. And you guys can see there's all these different zones that are showcased here. And I believe this is the map that was showcased in the trailer. So yeah, really cool to get our first like top-down visual of the first map in the game. Next, we're going to cover the loot. So loot will be known as valuables. These will range in rarity from purples to even exotic level items, such as like keycards, weapons, armor, things like artifacts that they've referred to in previous videos where you have to collect a bunch of pieces of an artifact to form a prime artifact. So why does extracting with loot matter? Well, there is a faction and contract system. So factions will give you quests, and the more of those quests you fulfill, the higher you rank up that faction, which means you earn upgrades for your players. So for example, the heat meter that controls how many abilities you can use, You get like faster heat regen or more available heat to be able to use your abilities. You can upgrade your armor and your build and make money to buy better weapons. So it's very self-fulfilling when you get out with loot. There are definitely a lot of emotional highs and lows. There are also interactable quests. So like say I have to go and, you know, disrupt some UESC radar or something like that, and I plant the item and successfully disrupt. I don't always have to extract successfully and live. As long as I've done the task at hand, I can die and still make progress. So there is a sense of progress whether you win or lose, essentially, whether you die or not, which I think is good. Obviously, there will be quests where you need to extract with a certain item in your inventory, and that's kind of those heart-pumping moments, but there are other ones where you can make progress as well, which is great. And they clarified that Marathon, they want to be much more approachable than other extraction shooters. Obviously, this is kind of a hardcore genre. A lot of people think of Escape from Tarkov, which is a more militaristic realism type version of this game. But essentially, they're going to have introductory missions and tutorials to help familiarize you, with the overall processes and how the game sort of works. There's not going to be any limb system where like you get a blacked out arm, you have a broken arm, you have to do surgery. There's none of that. You can have ailments applied to your character. You can be slowed by enemy gunfire, things like that. But you're not going to have to like do surgery or know all these like different medical items to use. It's much more simplistic than Tarkov in that regard. So that's pretty much it. A lot to cover in a short period of time. Hopefully you guys found this recap helpful. We're going to be covering a lot more Marathon content on the channel moving forward. And let me know down in the comments below, what are you guys the most excited for? What are you the most concerned about? Were you guys hyped with the reveal? Have you signed up for the alpha? I want to know everything down in the comments below. Let's have a respectful, fun discussion kind of about what the future of this game could hold. I'm super excited, so I'm interested to see what you guys think. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.